My favorite quality about Pops is that he's incredibly honest. At least you always know where you stand with Pops. So I like that. He'll give it to you straight down both barrels.
All right, so I want to do something different for this part because I really haven't done any of these. So I purposely kind of moved back a little bit, show off my Bob Ross shirt. You'll understand in a while because I really haven't dove into collecting much. And that's something I really want to talk about here because we can talk about pop culture, movies and music and all that kind of stuff. But really one of the things that drives a lot of this is the collectibles, what people are really into, spending their money on and that kind of thing. So I want to talk about Funkos. Like, are Funkos worth collecting? What are you kind of looking out for and that kind of thing? So I wore the Bob Ross shirt. Been had that on all day. New shirt, enjoying that very much. Big fan of the old Bob Ross. And I want to illustrate a couple of Funkos that I have behind me. So this is two. There are so many Funkos. I mean, I don't even know where to begin. That's kind of part of what I want to talk to you about. And so here's an example. This is a normal Funko of Bob Ross. You can see him right there. He's got his giant brush and overalls on. That's kind of more like from the opening credit scenes where he's swooping the paint across, making all of the different things show up. So that's kind of what that one looks like. But when you look at this one's a very different one. This is one, it's actually a parallel one where there's no color on it. And you can see he's actually got the palette there. Let me close it up there for you can see. So you can see he's got his little painting brush here, but you also can see this sticker, right? So the sticker has something to do with how collectible a Funko is. So a sticker are applied to the ones where they are exclusively available. So if you had, imagine 1,000 different types of Funkos, some of them are actually allocated to be for certain type of retailers or certain type of events. So let's say, for instance, this is from MegaCon. So you can only get that Funko from the Fan Expos, which is who sponsors MegaCon and some of those kind of conventions. You could not get that particular Funko at like a Walmart or a Target. Similarly, there's also Walmart, Target, Hot Topic has a lot. And I'm saying all this because we're seeing with the Funkos that they're kind of at a tipping point, right? So when you're early on in something that is considered collectible, and if you were to go back in time, Funko has a great story. There's actually a documentary that's been on Netflix. I don't know if it's still on there or not, but it talks about Funko becoming a company and growing, and Funko, how they got the licensing for like the old cereal mascots and those kinds of things. So you'll see some of these Funkos are already hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Like, so Jolly Green Giant, some of these they're from the very beginning, right? And like Big Boy was a big one for them too. And so these Funko toys in the beginning of the collectible part are worth a lot of money. It's because not a lot were made, and those that have been made have been around a long time. So a lot of them are open, they're damaged, they're not as collectible. So if you have like a mint version of one of those early ones, that's why they're worth so much money, right? So if you Google or you eBay some of these things, you'll see all sorts of crazy prices. And that doesn't mean every single one is going to be created equal. Because what's happened is now that Funko has exploded and become a big deal, they are mass producing and making so many different kind of Funkos, so many different types of TV shows. Now we're seeing like, they've gotten into sports a little bit. They've gotten into that. And I got to be honest, some of that's kind of like the red flag. Like at that point, the market's so saturated that the regular ones you see aren't going to be worth anything. So if you're grabbing one at Walmart for like $8 to $10, or you're one of the other retailers, first off, if the box is jacked up, you might as well open it up and enjoy it because it ain't going to be worth nothing, right? So the second rule is, do you want to open it or not? Like, so a Funko that's still new in the box, that's kept really kind of pristine, it's going to be worth more than one that's actually out of the box. That's just another rule for Funko. And I got to be honest, as I thought about this and putting this together, I'm just giving you a couple examples. I do want to talk about Funkos in depth at a later time, but wanted to give you an inside detail look at, because these things are kind of everywhere, right? Hot Topic wall is it's really kind of overwhelming and kind of amazing at the same time, right? There's so many different kinds, right? Cartoons, movies, TV shows, whatever. It goes on and on. There's also different size, right? There's big ones and little ones. And so there's a lot going on here. So first rule of thumb is going to be, is it the box intact or not, right? How many are there? These are the typical things you see with collectability. It's like, what is it going to be worth? It's going to be worth when someone will pay for it, right? So then go to eBay and you see them on there for $5. They're not going to pay you $10, $12 on a Facebook marketplace for one. It's not going to happen. So we're still in the market where it's actually pretty hot. People are still trying, I think, put together collections. They're still enjoying this. They do kind of look cool as a background for a lot of folks. You'll see other YouTubers even have like whole walls of Funkos, and I'll put them in the background sometimes. I got them kind of sprinkled all over the house. My wife made this really cool shelf for me, so like it holds so many against the wall, and you'll see that in the background a couple of times, those kinds of things. And I featured one. I want to show this one too. So this is an Avengers one. This is actually more of a rare one that would be worth a lot of money. This is actually from Infinity War, and you can see it has a sticker down here. You can see the sticker. Let me get it up close for you so you can check that out. Right, so you can see the Target sticker there at the bottom. It's a Target exclusive only, but also it is also one that is not actually featured in the movie. This is a scene that got cut out of the movie where, if you remember how the movie went, Banner was inside the Hulk busting suit. He's battling the creatures, and it's like, Hulk come out, Hulk come out. Well, Hulk didn't actually come out, but the Funko is made as though Hulk did come out. So it's a little rare in that when people saw it, they thought it would be a really cool part of the movie. They got snatched up a lot of way. They were only available on Target, and they hit the secondary market. So right out of the bat, if you didn't get one right away, they were probably running you about $50. And I don't know if that's really held water or not, because I mean, it kind of changes. Because the other thing too is, you got to remember, when people have interest in something, it's going to drive how collectible it is, right? So if you are a big fan of Avengers and you're trying to collect all those Funkos, the rare ones are going to cost you a lot more right now. If you were instead trying to collect a Star Trek series, let's say you're into Star Trek right now, they're not as in demand. I'm not saying they're not worth anything, and I'm not saying that there's not going to cost you a few bucks, but not as many people are out there scavenging the internet and knocking each other over for Star Trek Funkos compared to the number of people in Marvel or Star Wars and things that are actually in theaters and big right now. Likewise, if you were to go back and try to find some of those older ones or some of the more expensive ones, one of my recommendations is to just watch them, right? Use eBay and Amazon as a great indicator of something that you're interested in. Put them on a watch list, keep an eye on the price, see if it's moving up or down, and make offers, right? Change your settings to look for best offers, those kinds of things. Check Facebook Marketplace, those kinds of things. If you have a Funko that's going for, let's say, $100, and you watch it for 3 months and the dude still has it for $100, if it's got a best offer option and you offer 80 or you offer 100 with shipping and things like that, almost everybody takes those offers, man. Nobody wants to sit on these things. You got it up for sale, you're ready to get rid of it, you're ready to move it. To me, everything has a price, because at some point you can have a bottom, right? You can have an up and down. How long do you want to hold on to something? And I think that's what you have to decide as a collector. People ask me all the time about something and say, hey, what is this worth? It is worth what someone will give you, right? If the market is saturated full of them, or there's not a demand, that means you're not going to get much. So you have to decide too, if you want to collect something or you want to hang on to something, when do you want to sell it, right? So if you have something now and you think it's going to be worth something, you're going to flip it, ooh, it's really hard to turn a buck. You know, you got to buy in bulk sometimes, or you got to just get the right thing at the right time. It's like buying stocks that way. It's really, really hard. But if you say, well, I want this, I'm going to look to sell it maybe in 20 years or something, I'm just going to hang on to because I enjoy it. And then maybe if it's worth something, then I'll dump it. That's kind of a more practical approach. So what we're going to find with Funkos is we're hitting a point now where we're getting close to a wall, in my opinion, where it's going to kind of start fizzling out a little bit because they've oversaturated the market. There are Funkos literally everywhere. Some of the stickers are going so fast because everyone's caught on that those are the more rare ones. Those are the more limited ones. Those are the ones where there's a premium on eBay. You're seeing those already right out of the gate, 15, 20 bucks. You're not going to get them for less than that because everyone's going and buying as many as they can. You'll see signs. Go into Hot Topic, you'll see you can only buy 2 that are limited like that because they're trying to at least be a little more fair, but there's still ways around that. I will say this. So if we fast forward that 20 years, you will find a time and a place where they will come back. Like Beanie Babies was like this, right? With Beanie Babies, it was like they were all the buzz and all the kids wanted them. Then the market got so overblown where, again, they were doing sports and all sorts of crazy characters and stuff. And then at some point, nobody cared, right? There's just garages full of Beanie Babies. But at times, they start to come back, and now there's a demand. Now, those regular ones may still only be worth a couple dollars. Like you can get some of that stuff super cheap, but those rare and collectible ones, they kind of skyrocket up a level. They level up each time this happens. And the other thing that does happen and will happen is if there are other characters that are not quite as popular and you have more of an exclusive or a rare one, and then they get featured or they're somehow brought into the forefront where they're really, really popular, those also do well. So for instance, a comic book reference would be, there are comic books where Falcon becomes Captain America. So after the events of Endgame, where we see Falcon take up the shield, we see that those comic books now are the ones that fans are chasing after immediately. So overnight, those doubled in value. I don't know where they're at now. If you had a super, super nice one, or if you had one that was professionally graded, it is probably soaring in price for you, right? But let's just say we fast forward 10 years, there's a new cap situation, there's a new thing in Marvel. That's not the case. Those are tanking, man. You can tie a rock to it, man. It's going to plummet in price. The market is just all over the map like that. It's all about what you want to do, what you enjoy. And that's what I recommend, right? If you're into something, have fun with it, man. If you're not really into collecting, open them up, man. Put them out. Let your kids play with them. So I have some the kids can get to, some the kids don't get to. I kind of feel it out depending on how old they are and that kind of thing. So that's my take. Tell me what you think, man. Tell me what you think about Funkos. Do you like them? You don't like them? Have favorite ones you don't? Where you get your limited ones from? I kind of shop around here and there. I don't spend a lot of money up front. Like I said, you know, $8 or $10 up front. There's no profit there if you're trying to sell it, and I have to decide if I'm going to open it or not, play with it, you know, let the kids have it, that kind of thing, or just put it in the background, be a cool display, you know, like Hulkbuster or kind of like Bob. So that's my take on Funkos. Hopefully that helps you out a little bit. Throw some comments down there for me. I'll reply to them, give you some feedback. I can answer questions for you the best I can, and hopefully we'll do a little bit more of these collectible type things. Again, first rule of thumb, again, you walk into a Funko wall with just, again, at the end of the day, people talk to me all the time about what stuff is worth and all that. Again, I say, it's what